Today we're talking to you about the project that was a big experience for us for the past 20 or 30 years as a practice. It's New Aswan Waterfront. New Aswan is in Upper Egypt. It's a beautiful natural setting with the Nile passing through, very mountainous. Why is it moving? The Nile is passing through very hilly sites, all of granite stones, and really beautiful setting. The valley is very narrow, very narrow, and the hills are fantastic, and you can see the quality of the environment here. The message that I wanted to talk to you about was for a landscape architect or a planner or landscape planner, environmental planner. If you understand and appreciate the natural setting before starting doing a project, then this understanding will dictate a lot of the planning ideas, principles, the morphology of your work, the details and every aspect of it, and I'm gonna show you how that was done in New Aswan. Again, this is a scene of Aswan. As you can see, the valley is only maybe 50 meters wide. The Nile is starkly blue, beautiful, and then you can see the lower photo, narrow valley and the hills. Okay, this is where it started about 10 years ago or so. I received a phone call from the Minister of Housing and Urban Development. He said, Maher, I want you to meet me at New Aswan site. We're doing a new town called New Aswan on the west bank of the Nile. I want you to come and have a look. I was there yesterday. I was on the building on top of a hill and I looked, and what I'm seeing is a beautiful view, and the master plan that was approved by the government is a piece of garbage. I hate it. I want to change it. So we started from a master plan that was approved. He called and said, let's walk the site. This is my first view of the site. I was impressed with the view of the Nile. It's about almost a kilometer wide, fabulous, yeah. And the city or the site is composed of a very narrow, as you can see here, flat area, 2-lane road, then a very sharp hill of rocks and so forth, and an upper plateau. What the master plan that was adopted included widening this road into 6 lanes, the corniche, the typical corniche that everybody's doing in towns, and cleaning up all this garbage, what they call the trees and the palms, and all this bushes, they call them bushes, and make the river bank with a riprap, then get a grader and step this and make it steps with buildings, and that will be the master plan. And we walked the site here. As you can see, the beautiful dome, hyphaea trees that are growing on the site are fabulous. This is just 200, 300 years old here. The river bank is all protected by a lot of variety of vegetation, and everybody who knows the ecology of the river, this is the most fragile area ecologically that protects erosion, and it's where fish breeding and birds and so forth. So the first thing I told them, don't touch the river edge, don't touch the trees, don't change anything. So we ran a very quick topographic analysis in our country, because we don't have rainfall, we don't have forests, we don't have water bodies, we don't. Topography is the most critical and important element of the landscape. So the whole concept of the plan was based on the topography. As we walked the site with the minister, we discovered, strangely enough, a lot of archaeological sites. This is a 5th century mud brick church. Was buried underground. Nobody knew anything about it yet. So we ordered the decree to keep it here, preserve it here. In addition, we walked a lot of other areas. All these brownish areas are rock formations. As we walked the site, we found a lot of hieroglyphics, engravings on some of these rocks. Along, it seems like 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, this was a quarrying site, and the laborers that were working there were inscribing. So that was another important component of the thinking process. This is the church that was discovered. Native plants. This is the native vegetation. These are some of the rock formation that was completely destroyed by the original master plan that was adopted, and as we walk, they create a beautiful rock outcrop formation. This is Laila in front of some of these inscriptions. Okay, as we walked the site, we sat down with the minister and we said, in order to run quickly and try to cancel the whole master plan, let us sketch an urban design scheme which will have most of our requirements. Requirement number 1 was to keep all the waterfront as public green open space, no development. Requirement number 2, the road will remain a 6-meter wide road, local, low traffic. Requirements number 3, the hills would be preserved, not to be distracted. Number 4, we want to create a pedestrian city, a green city, a walkable city, enjoyment. The color scheme here shows some of there's a purple land use perpendicular to the mine. This is the downtown, and this is a very unique. When we walked it, there's a difference of 45 meters, so if you are on top of the hill and you walk down the downtown, you see the water completely. The whole concept was how to do this and not to lose money. So all the real estate on the upper level, like level 30, 45, so forth, have 100% view of the Nile. So the idea now is, instead of having 2 million square meters of real estate with destruction of the site, we have 1 million square meters of real estate with Nile view, so the revenue from that is much higher than just destroying the site. And strangely enough, and to our surprise, we took this plan to the Prime Minister. It was approved for the first time in Egypt. We got a presidential decree to declare the whole waterfront 7 kilometers long, 100 meters wide, has a natural preserve park for the city. Number 2, a presidential decree to make all these hills a conservation area and not to be developed. So we got this in, moving from this to legalizing conservation of the landscape. And this plan was adopted and the master plan changed, and we did. Then the next step was to work on the park here. This was again legislated, not to leave it as a sketch. So this was done as land use with zoning regulations, building guidelines, and so forth and so on. So that was another step that was successfully. This we worked on. All the orange lines are pedestrian networks. So you have the lower pedestrian network on the park. There is an intermediate dark orange. That's another promenade on level 25 meters above river, and then the perpendicular promenade, which is the Nile. For the first time also, we've created 5 pedestrian bridges connecting the back city to the park. So if you're walking or taking the golf car or biking and so forth, do not touch asphalt. Yeah, you just walk and enjoy the city on foot or by bike. Yeah. We worked a little bit on the downtown, but was did not. The plan was discussed with the official. We walked every part of the site to we make sure that what we're doing is in harmony with the natural landscape. This is the park after it was done here. So this 7 kilometers long, 150 acres of park, and as you can see on the far right, there's a pedestrian bridge that connects the park to. The thing that we had to make another fight for is no fences. And this took about 2 to 3 months to convince the people in the government that parks do not need to have fences. So we have, right now when we're talking about human rights, you're, as a person, the right to access public, the right to access the waterfront. So that was another success that was happening. One of the most challenging thing also for us was how to sustain the park, not ecologically, but economically. Because in Egypt, they don't have money. For people, if you tell them, take this budget and put it in a park, as if you're joking. So because we have schools, we have housing, So the idea of creating spots for, as you can see the sketch up there, we tried to embed a few shops and cafes and so forth, and the revenue from these cafes and shops would run the park. So the park is economically sustainable. As we were working with the staff and contractors, we've established the park zones by level. So we said level 82 is the low flood, 86 the high flood, level 90 is public for everybody, level 91.5 above high level is for shops and cafes, the roof of the shops is street level 95, this is public open space, the bridge and so forth. So the city was defined by levels, by economical. This development of the park, we had the park developed and designed and connected and started as a project in the back area of villas overseeing, just to convince the government that you can get revenue from the project. The president came, and I think it was a nice day, ceremonial opening the park.
Assets, easy, D, easy.
Yeah, this is something that we've learned as we were working on the park. We had three or four marinas, small marinas, and we had a lot of details and so forth. And we went there and we met a 75, 80-year-old Nubian guy specialized in building marinas. And he looked at our drawings and he did like this. He said, "This is not how you build marinas here." So we stood up, watched every single step, it was a learning experience. Yeah. This is, I'm going to go through very quickly through the park. This is one of the arrival marinas, a very prime lookout points. The shops are embedded in the topography, so it does not block people in the streets. And the beautiful bridge connecting both sides. This is one of the A lot of beautiful vegetation and walkways. This is the public park. You can walk free anytime, day or night. All 90% of the vegetation you see here is what used to be on site here. We did not, this is the majestic dome or Hyphenia tree. It was integrated into the landscape. Beautiful. And this is all to the right-hand side, native planting on the sea, on the Nile edge. As you can see here, this is the main walking path. The contrast between the park and the hill in the back. Another docking area. Sometimes we left, if there's a tree or something, we left it as is, yeah. Okay. Okay. Shade, I think, was very important.
Try to move slides.
Yeah, this is all the furniture was custom designed furniture. Just this is the church. Nighttime use. This is the amphitheater that was built into the topography. Beautiful view of the Nile.
I think you downloaded your entire iPhone photo.
Thank you very much, Sibri.
Wonderful. I think the next Middle East Awards needs to be in Egypt, so we can all go and visit this, please. Well, throughout the construction industry, we're hearing so much about construction technology, and one of the changes that we've seen in this transformation is the introduction of all sorts of new technologies. Now, I think the construction industry's always had technology, but what we're seeing today is new technology that will help us build the environment and support the construction industry in areas of safety, design, efficiency.